It looks like we're back up. Oh, all right. Yes. No worries. Yeah, it looks like we're back up. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a little connection issue. Hopefully that's the end of that. Um, so so we will play our clashes until we draw the King of Hearts, and then it ends. And one of the really cool things is after every single card that we play, and we the prompt and describe what happens. Whoever played the opponent, do you want to keep fighting?
Mm,
Um,
that's
which
good.
is just really good. Um, yeah. And so we are allowed to stop fighting at any time, and then we kind of decide on our own what that means if we at any point decide to stop fighting. Um, so yeah,
Okay.
let's 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 get started, shall we? I'll let you can open up
I can open up.
as you are the guest here.
I
You,
am the guest. So that means I would just play one of my cards, right?
yep, you can just play it on the
Mm,
map.
mm, mm, mm. I don't remember how to play war. I don't know what the thing is,
You
but
want to start low.
that's what I thought. That's what I
Yeah,
try to remember. Okay.
yeah, you want
I'm
to
just
start
gonna
low.
put that down
All
there.
right. Two of clubs. So clubs, the theme of clubs is events of the war. So the two of clubs is what vital public service was canceled a year into the fighting. So a vital service. Hmm.
This is for both
Wait.
of us, right?
Yeah,
Or
well, it's your card. I can chime in
oh, okay.
because you played it. Um, if you have any ideas, and I will also think, and we can kind of expound on it as we wish.
Vital public service was canceled a year into the.
I'm trying to think of like what would be something that like it's very debilitating to have like something big enough that it's a really big deal that it got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, it would be something that sort of connects. Hmm. War between Earth and the colony.
Hmm. What if it's like some form? I'm like my mind keeps going to travel of some
Yeah, I
sort,
was
like
thinking. I was.
some form of transit.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was also going towards the
Like
that free travel that goes back that connects everything.
yeah, maybe it's like the equivalent of like flying commercial from like Earth to the colonies is
Mhm.
suspended. Like you can't just like go out there.
Yeah, you have to either you have to hitch on like dangerous like freighters or like
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Or it's like
it's not as
government
easy.
issued stuff,
Mhm.
like so like things that are associated with the war effort.
Yeah, I was basically thinking like the space subway is what I was thinking of too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, it's basically that commercial travel between both gets shut down, uh,
Yeah, and I
which makes sense because that would be like if you wouldn't want to be putting, you know, civilians at risk and stuff like that.
right. and then by the same token, I think that this is something that happened so like abruptly that there are people who aren't from the colonies stuck on the colonies
Trapped
and
on
vice
both sides.
versa,
Hmm.
because this was just like a this is what's happening
Hmm.
type of deal.
Yeah, there are people trapped on both sides.
Mhm. All right. So let me see what I'm going to do in response to that. I don't have any clubs. So I'm going to play the 5 of hearts because you can play hearts no matter what.
Okay.
And hearts, the theme is your lover. So this is going to be stuff about us. So the
Aha.
5 is you know your lover disagrees with you on whether or not you should leave Earth. Why do you think you may still be able to change their mind? This is very interesting as I
Hmm.
am the Earth
Or the
pilot, but I mean, even though you're like a colonies pilot, like I assume we still live on Earth.
Yeah, I was thinking we live
Yeah,
on
I think
Earth.
we live on Earth, but
It
maybe,
makes sense.
yeah. Hmm. So what? I think that you disagree. Or I might flip this around. I'm gonna
Hmm.
flip this around, and I'm gonna make
Okay.
this about you.
Okay.
And you're trying, and Jackson is the one who wants to leave Earth,
Okay.
but even doesn't want to. Um, because I think I don't know what Jackson's background is as far as like if they're from Earth or not, but I know like Evan's definitely like only been from Earth, like doesn't want to leave where like everything she knows is from, and I think is a little like afraid of space despite being a mecha pilot.
Hmm.
Just like the ground and breathing
Yeah.
oxygen that naturally exists in
Just
the
so,
atmosphere.
but the challenge of living where we're not meant to live.
Mm,
That's that's the thing.
yeah. So I'm gonna flip in. Yeah. So to why I think that I can convince you to stay here. And I think that's her biggest argument is like, this is what we know. We know that it's safe here. Like, this is comfortable. This is like, we know, like anything, like once you got to the colonies, like you don't know anything that can happen to you.
Hmm.
You don't know if you're safe at all times. You don't know if like life support systems will randomly malfunction. You don't know if your food production isn't going to work. Like there's so many unknowns associated with it, and I think even doesn't like
Alex slash
kind of
Mr.
like
Puddins,
taking advantage
streamed.
of the anxieties that can exist around that.
Hmm.
But if it means that if it means that they get to stay on Earth, then she's might just play a little dirty.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like there's probably been some signs too in that uh it can be a little intoxicating on Earth that just have, like water and air just there.
It's just
And I think
look at it.
there have probably been some points where uh Jackson softens up on that point of, always being the adventurer and
Mm.
of just also being like, dang, that's a whole lake. That's just crazy.
That just exists
It's
on
just
its
there.
own.
It's just there, and you could go in it. Like we don't go in water in space.
Yeah, right.
That's just gross. We have to drink that.
We have to. All right. So it is your turn now. So you can play So it's a club higher than a 5 or a heart higher than a 5.
Well, it's a good thing we have clubs.
Ooh, 10 of clubs. So 10 of clubs is, what do you carry with you at night to feel safe on the streets?
Oh,
Mm, space mace.
space mace.
I
Mm.
mean, I guess that could either be space pepper spray or a large space weapon. Space mace. TM.
What do you carry with you at night to feel safe on the street? You know, I'm gonna take this kind of like you think it would be something that would keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think what Jackson carries at night to feel safe on the streets of an unfamiliar place, uh, I think it's a small piece of tubing that saved his life uh, in space. And I think that just gives him the confidence that, like, yeah, I think there was an explosive decompression, and he was able to cobble this thing together to breathe off of, and he just holds that because he's like, I can get through anything. I got through that, and it's just like a little piece of tubing, just like a little like touchstone kind of thing that he has that uh that keeps them safe, that gives them that confidence that I'm not gonna nothing.
Mm,
These dark streets don't scare me.
yeah. Rapid decompression scares me.
Yes, rapid decompression. That's scary.
That's really good. That's so good. I love it. Um, and I cannot go higher than a 10.
Does that mean I
So
win that clash?
that means you win that clash. So describe, oh, and we're supposed to ask if you want to keep fighting. Do you want to keep fighting?
Yes.
Yeah. So you describe your hit and I will describe um the damage that I experience, if any, because mecha are very durable. Uh,
Yes.
but
I think so. We've landed on this moon, right? That's
we're
uh
like, yeah, we're heading towards the moon. And I'm gonna deal you two
just
more cards so that we can get back up to 7. We're like,
um
I think right now, like we're in space.
okay, okay.
Yeah, let's do
Uh
it that way. Like we're it like the first couple clashes, like we're in space, and
yeah, I
then
was just trying to
we're,
remember how it set
I
us up.
think,
Okay.
yeah, because it said that we are.
Enters the mecha enters the atmosphere of this moon, sparking fires they blaze through the air. Um
Yeah, so we're like we're heading
yeah, so
towards.
and I think I'm coming in at an angle and I see you I see um the Paris by way of Detroit. I'd recognize that those I want to say stickers, but that's not the word that they are. I'd recognize
Emblems.
emblems. Yes, I'd recognize that the emblems. I'd recognize that call sign. I know the markings of that mech. Uh, and I think um, I have the higher ground on you, and cut. I think I cut my angle, and it's more of like a drop down, and I just do like one of those diving birds like
Mm,
attacks down towards you because we're both coming in, but I have the higher ground there, and
mm-hmm.
I see you, and it's just fire, uh, and Ignis is ready, and I go into a striking pose, and I just like arc through the sky, like change course,
Oh,
cut my safe entry, and just go for a.
all right. I like that, and I think that I notice a just a second too late to avoid the hit entirely and manage to kind of roll away. as we cross in, there's like a big crack on the side of the, like the view. I was
Mm,
gonna say windshield. Mechs don't have windshields,
no,
but
but yeah.
the windshield. Um, um, just like a crack starts coming out from like the corner
Mhm.
and kind of like coming around, and it's like one of those like, I need to get planet side before this glass blows out. Like I don't think it's through it all the way because these are
Yeah.
like very very thick, but
Mhm.
it's, you don't want, you hate to see it.
Yes. Yeah, that's not
Um,
something you want to start happening like this far up still.
no, 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 no. Um, all right, so mm, so we need to. I'll keep score. I'm just gonna keep score on a piece of paper, like the pilgrims used to.
'Tis the week
Be-
for that, I guess.
because we need to keep score of who won what clashes. And now I get to go first because I lost. And I'm going to open with. I'm just gonna put it on top here. The Two of Hearts. I'm trying to get rid of some
Okay.
of the. So the Two of Hearts. How do you keep your pilot activities secret from your lover? Ooh, okay. I think that, so generally by concession of the setting, a lot of time, like a lot of career stuff is secret. Um, but I think that the my cover is that I work um, for I because you would know that my parents were mech pilots because the first generation mech pilots were not secretly mech pilots.
Mhm.
Like everyone knew that they're mech pilots. So I think that my like cover identity is that I work like for the government, kind of like investigating the events that surrounded all of that happening, because it's like, oh, like this is something that I'm passionate about because it's so close to me. Like I lost my parents this way. So I think that my cover is that like I work for the government, and it causes me sometimes like to keep odd hours and go away for extended periods of time and things like that.
That makes sense.
So, so
I like that.
um, do you want to keep fighting?
Yes.
All right, play your card.
I play Six of Hearts.
Ooh, Six of Hearts.
Six of Hearts is when your lover introduced you to their parents. How did you embarrass yourself and how did they reassure you?
All right.
Ooh.
Hmm.
I feel like I want to make this a gravity thing. um gosh, or like just something like, I mean, you don't necessarily know that I'm from the colonies
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or that I'm fighting for the colonies. But
Right. Yeah.
I think I'm sort of, to go with how like what your thing was, is I'm sort of like a I want to this is going to sound silly, but space lawyer. Uh in
Ooh.
that
Space.
I sort of negotiate. I'm sort of like, okay, this is I'm sort of like the Steve Jobs of mining contracts. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm that kind of person. I'm sort of like
Mm-hmm.
that kind of like wheeler and dealer, like
Mm-hmm.
big personality, theatrical,
Do you
even.
have a lot of turtlenecks?
Yes, I have a lot of
All
space
right.
turtleneck.
Space
Uh
turtle.
mhm.
Space turtlenecks.
But like also like really good suits. I dress really
Mm-hmm.
nice. Got a good cut to
Yeah.
them. A lot of good space
Custom.
suits.
Everything's custom made.
Yes, everything's uh And I think um yeah, I think it's sort of like you introduced me to your parents, and I've been out in space for
These
a while,
mm,
and um I think I just at one point um uh I think just like vertigo kind of like takes over for a little bit. I think I just sort of like maybe like uh spill into the like the table or something like that, just like do this like really embarrassing like, oh no, the chicken salad like sort of thing.
no.
And
And
I
it's like,
and I just
oh, he's been spending a lot of time like on the
yeah,
colonies for
it's just one of
work.
those silly things where like I'm a grown man and I can't really walk all that well, uh and like the gravity's getting to me, and that just seems kind of silly to me. And yeah, I think it's just sort of like that clumsy, um and like I ruin like
And we
the
just order
lunch.
takeout.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine. And we just order takeout.
Aw.
I would like
And
to keep fighting.
yeah, and I think you kind of reassure me in that like,
Oh yeah.
we turn it into we turn it into sort of like this, we order takeout and we all eat on the floor sort of
Hmm.
thing, kind of thing. Like
It's
you
like,
make
no,
it
it's
not that big of a
fine.
deal. We make it easy for me.
Yeah,
Um
I think maybe maybe like my parents had a similar like something happen when they first like started dating or something. That's like, no, like don't worry about it. Like they tell this story all the time about like one of them taking a digger into a table or something like that. They're like, you're fine. It's totally fine. All right. I'm going to play the Eight of Hearts.
oh.
Hmm. What is your lover allergic to? And how did you have to adjust? Hmm. I I want it to be something like out there.
Hmm.
Cause it's like, yeah, like I feel like saying pine nuts isn't interesting.
No.
um I think that of course I'm gonna make up some science because that's what I do.
Do it.
Like I think it's something in like the atmosphere of Earth that isn't in like the manufactured atmosphere
Hmm.
of the colonies. Like if it's something like, oh, there's too much nitrogen in the air on Earth. Um something in that vein, that there's something that naturally occurs in Earth's air that the manufactured like piped in air like
Hmm.
in the colonies, it just doesn't exist there. um and I think because of that we had to kind of like create and pipe in like an artificial atmosphere like in our house
Okay. Hmm.
like they do on the colonies. And that I think like if you're just out and about it's not that big of a deal, or you have like an inhaler, like if you're like outside for prolonged periods of time. So like but like within the house we have this manufactured airflow system, because it's not like an uncommon thing for people who move from like the colonies and Earth like back and forth like to develop this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, usually they'll stay one place or another if like this allergy comes up, but because of your job you don't have a choice because you have to spend a lot of time in both places. So
Hmm.
we had to kind of make our own air.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. Do you want to keep fighting?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
mean, that would be kind of like I'd just say no. Okay, game's
Be
done. Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Of course, I
Sure.
want to keep fighting. Okay, so I have to play something higher than an 8.
Yes.
I have that.
Damn. All right.
The Jack of Hearts, which is a good one. On a snow-covered mountain, you almost proposed.
Oh, damn.
What stopped you? If there were no war, would you try again? Um,
Ooh.
that's a
Feelings.
yeah, that's a
That's good.
um, yeah. I think there was a time we're doing like some kind of, you know, uh, winter trip. Uh, and I was doing, it's the air is thinner and it's feels more like home. It's closer to space. Um, but I think, God, why do people not
Why do people not propose?
like? What would have stopped me?
What if what if we like there was like something happened, like if we got like a call with bad news, or like something happened like in the area we were in, like, hmm, yeah, why do people not propose?
Yeah, like I
All of a
almost want
sudden
to take it
all of a
into.
sudden even just like, man, I really don't want to get married ever.
Yeah, like I feel like I had it all like set up and stuff, but like I think it would have to take some sort of like incident.
Mhm.
And I kind of want to just kind of tie it into
Big
the
drama.
war, in that
Big
we're
drama.
yeah we're there, and like maybe like the war, like maybe an event that triggered the war happened on
Mm.
that like day, and
Yeah,
like
maybe
like
that.
an orbital station or something.
Yeah.
um and we're up there, and we see you could see it in the sky. uh
And like maybe they just had to like evacuate, like we were on like this mountain and then they had to like evacuate everyone, and it
yeah,
wasn't that like you changed your mind about proposing, but it's like
yeah, it's just it
moment
became.
moment ruined.
Yeah, yeah, that's, I mean, it's not like I would just keep going, like.
Yeah, right. Be like, ignore this, ignore
Yeah,
this.
and I think that there's definitely, I think the ring is still there, always on their person, because they're like waiting for that. I think they're waiting to try again. They're waiting for that moment. Like it's always there to remind them, like, okay, the moment's gonna come. The moment's gonna come. But the war,
Mhm. When the
I
war's
think,
over.
yeah, and I think it's always that. It's like, okay, when the war is over, like they have that ring always on them, and they touch it sometimes to just be like, once this is over, it'll be the perfect time. The
Oh
perfect time.
god. Oh god.
So like they're always ready. They're just waiting.
Well, you win again because
Oh
I
no.
can't beat a jack. So, two for you. So describe the hit.
Okay. Oh man. So I think you've barreled out of the way of this, and I think we're getting closer now. And um we're probably getting closer to the surface. And there's been some back and forth maneuvering on our parts. Uh and I think we're now more at an even level pace,
Mhm.
as we're falling. Still, as we're falling to being pulled by the gravity of this planetoid. And I think I do that thing where it's just um, backhand over the back, both of them probably, because Ignis has two, and I pull out like there's these two big, like, not swords, because that's not, they're sort
Laser
of like,
swords.
they're sort of more like laser maces. They're like
Space
heated
mace.
like space maces.
I
Uh
love it.
they're like hammers. you know,
Ooh.
like a like a forging hammer sort of thing, but
Mm.
like because like Ignis is like this big bulky uh semi-round kind of mech.
Mhm.
It looks like it should be a blacksmith, I think is the theme we're going with
Oh,
this.
cool.
It's sort
All
of
right.
like a uh his name has escaped me, but you know, Hephaestus? Was it Hephaestus? Like
Mhm.
the forger? Yeah.
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 But it's sort of like on that theme, but like more mech and more anime. But yeah, so it's
Mhm.
like these two big forging hammers. And I think I just like come at you from like both sides in like a hammer strike.
Cool. All right. And in stark contrast to Ignis, um, Paris by Way of Detroit is very. I hesitate to use the word slight to describe a mecha, but I'm imagining them kind of like Eva 1 from
Mhm.
NGE, like very streamlined,
Mhm.
made for like quick maneuvers and that kind of thing. So I think that seeing that approach, I'm able to kind of like boost out of the way because I'm a smaller, quicker
Mhm.
mech. And you managed to kind of land like glancing blows across me, but I'm able to move fast enough that it's nothing that does like any detrimental damage. But I definitely know that you're there and
Yeah.
you're ready to do some damage. Um, so I get to go first again because I
Yeah.
lost again. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go with this. Six of spades. So
Oh.
spades, the theme for spades is the fight at hand.
Oh.
Um, so ooh, six is good. This is very apropos. Your opponent lands a solid blow. What pain do you feel? Um, so that's very apropos.
Mm-hmm.
I think all right. So I think that I'm able to get out of the way of your first attack and then you push forward while I'm still off balance as we're still like rapidly descending into orbit of this planetoid, and you get another hit and kind of like get like alongside um the head and get like a very solid hammer hit, and everything within the mech is like neural linked
Mm-hmm.
to better control it. But when you take a really strong blow to the head, at least in the style of mech that is Paris by Way of Detroit, that it kind of gives like a shooting, like almost like a migraine pain. Um, and just for a brief moment, and it's like one of those migraines where it's like you just see like this flash of bright light and everything just kind of like stops for a second before the mech kind of begins like self-preservation, as a reaction to being hit, and the neural link almost like dims a little bit to allow my brain to kind of react to it. Fake
Yeah.
science.
Hey.
um Fake science. So yeah, so you get a good blow upside my head.
Oh, if
And it hurts
only
real
I
bad.
know. Okay.
Do you want to keep fighting?
Yes. Oh, I keep forgetting to ask you that when I do. Um. Okay. Then I'm going to play this, which goes pretty much in line.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay.
which what weapon does your opponent wield that you are unprepared
Ooh,
for?
interesting.
Um. I think that Paris by way of Detroit is itself a weapon, just in that how agile and nimble it is. And um I think the weapon you wield is the skill of that mech. And I think I am unprepared for the speed at which you can return hits. And I think it's more of it's that sleek sort of. I'm picturing Paris by way of Detroit as that sleek, angular sort of, you know, dancer of a mech kind of thing. And I think I'm just not prepared for. You can get in and do lots of quick little blows, uh, in and of itself, uh, and I think that's kind of the weapon that you wield is the speed and deftness of
Mm,
a dancer. And I'm
I love it.
Ignis is ill prepared for such
Mm,
speed because we're very. I mean,
mm,
it's space and we're fighting with hammers.
mm.
You already
Right.
know what we're all about.
Yeah, right. I like it. I like it a lot.
So I just love saying Paris by way of Detroit.
I also really love saying Paris by way of Detroit. Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's keep this party
Do you
rolling, and
want to keep fighting?
I want to keep fighting. And I
Like,
played the 9 of spades. What surprises you about your opponent's advance? So I think in the same vein as your answer, I think that Paris by way of Detroit being so nimble and agile um, doesn't expect a lot from Ignis based on how they appear to be just like a larger, a little clunkier, but certainly more powerful mech, um, strength wise. And I think that as we are locked in this combat in orbit, um, I'm very surprised that Ignis is handling with a deftness
mhm.
that I haven't expected or haven't seen in previous bouts. Um, so I think that that's the biggest surprise is that like Ignis is moving with not a grace, but definitely with a more agile way than it has in the past. And that's kind of troubling when you're used to like bouts with this mech that is moving a certain way.
I've learned a few moves from fighting you over the
Yeah, right.
however long it has. I've adapted to our battles.
Yes. And that's distressing. um, do you want to keep fighting?
Well, I would love to, but I don't have anything I can put down. So I think that means you win.
Yay, I win one!
You get to discard
Yay!
a hit upon me.
I'm gonna do a hit on you. Um
I'll allow it.
I, okay. So I think okay. I think this is as we are approaching landfall, um, groundfall, whatever. I think that Paris by way of Detroit doesn't wield a lot of weapons, but I think what weapon they do have, which is the only weapon that I feel is appropriate for a mech like this, is a whip,
Oh, ho, ho,
like a really
ho.
long,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like a light whip.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
And I think that what happens is as we are rapidly approaching the ground and we're getting ready to make landfall, using that momentum of us coming closer to Earth, I take my whip and like whip it around Ignis and kind of like put like use it to like whip you into the ground faster than the descending orbit so that you make big crater, big boom.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's good. I think um yeah, I think you get that, and you throw me down, and there is that huge like cloud of dust anime style as you use my momentum against me. Uh yeah, and I think as Ignis hits, Jackson is like disoriented as, the neural pathways get overloaded, and I think you can see uh the system screens and stuff are all like staticking out like it, and I think for a short period of time like that impact like just startles the whole Ignis's whole system, so there's a little bit of a delay in like me getting back up out of that. Like
Ooh.
there's definitely you overtaxed the system with that impact, and there's, it's one of those moments where it's like, come on, I'm like in there like, come on, like waiting for the system to come back up and respond to my inputs again.
That's really good. I love it. All right. So now you get to go first.
Woo!
Oh wait. First I have to deal us more cards.
Oh yes.
So I'll deal you because we're always supposed to have 7. Okay, now you can go.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna play 5 of diamonds.
Ooh. We have not
Okay.
done diamonds
Yeah,
yet.
we haven't done diamonds yet.
Diamonds are
Oh,
civilian life. That's fun.
okay. So why is it hard to get a decent cup of coffee? Oh no, this is my nightmare.
Oh no.
um. Oh man, why is it hard to get a decent cup of coffee? I think coffee is. Oh, this is a horrible future. I think the
It's not the ongoing space war.
yeah,
It's the
no,
scarcity of coffee.
yeah. I think coffee is a scarcity, uh, and it's I think maybe there, we don't have to go into that, but yeah, I think, it's just that I complain about that a lot. That when you can find the right, and because Jackson is, a person of that way, the coffee is, and I have probably connections to find coffee, but man, I'm probably like one of those weird eccentric collectors of like coffee, like
Ooh.
wherever I can find it, like because it's like rare, like I
Mm-hmm.
just this is you know 100-year old, you
Right.
sealed, it's still sealed, like um is it gonna be
Oh,
good,
that
is it gonna be bad, I don't know, but
it's fry with the anchovies.
yes, it's fried with the anchovies, exactly. um
It's all in a
and also
safety
fry with the
deposit
coffee,
box.
yeah.
Yeah. Coffee,
um
coffee, coffee.
but yeah, I think it's really hard to find coffee, and then by that way it's also hard to find a good cup. But when I do have a good cup, I talk about it for days.
Yeah, for a
And I
while.
definitely probably have in our like apartment or whatever, there's a whole like section of just like I treat it like it's science. Like
Mhm.
I'll manage to negotiate a trade for this, you know, unsealed crates of something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's coffee in here, and then I spend like hours tinkering with it and getting it right, and then I think,
The perfect pour over
yeah,
system.
exactly, and it's like okay, well, this is, so many years old, I don't know if this is going to be good or not. But I think I like always like sit you down and describe to you what I'm doing, sort of the thing, and then like you always get the first sip. As much as I love coffee, I try to share that with you, I think, and I think there's always that
Mm,
I make it like this whole big event, and I'm like, guess what I just got? Sit down. Are you ready? Here we go.
more coffee. More
Yes,
coffee.
more coffee. We're doing it again.
Awesome. That's real good.
Okay.
All right.
So do you want to keep fighting?
I do. I would like to keep fighting, please. And I'm going to play the Eight of Diamonds.
Ooh.
Um, a few years ago, both your parents passed away.
Oh
How?
no.
Well, my parents were mech pilots.
Yeah, that
We established, so they were killed when all the mech pilots were killed. Um, hmm. Let's see. I don't want to kill your parents without your consent. Well, the question says that they're. I would like this to be collaborative, so that I am not killing your parents on my own. But I feel like my mind immediately went to like some kind of accident. Like if they're on the colonies, like it could be something like that. Like something.
well, what if it's that decompressive event that
Ooh, that
I
you
yeah, that
survived
I survived.
barely. Mm,
Uh
I like that.
yeah. I mean, I you have my consent. And I think maybe it's yeah, I think it's that. Uh it was maybe, like a traveling in between places.
Mm,
Um and there was the shuttle wasn't built, you know, cobbled together sort of thing, and I
mm,
think there was like that accident. And
that's
uh
really good.
yeah.
Ooh. Do you want to keep fighting?
Yes.
All right, do it.
Do it. I'm gonna just go in sequential order here.
All right, yeah. What's next?
Um, Before becoming a pilot, why were you fired from your old job?
Ooh.
Oh,
Well
oh.
then.
Um, why was I fired from my old job? She has opinions. Um,
She doesn't like that you were fired.
who would? I think. I think I always wanted something bigger. I think, and I think that always showed up in my job. Like I could never just be content with just like doing the thing I was supposed to do. Um, and nothing. I think it's more of I just could never keep steady work. When I was younger.
Mm,
Um, Before I became a mech pilot, because there was that being bigger than something was what I wanted, and no matter what job I was in, I'd always try to like one up someone, and it was just always just grading on anyone that I had to work with me, and it was just I couldn't keep jobs like that.
mm. Seems valid to me.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve more.
Always.
You deserve the stars.
Do you want to keep fighting?
I would love to keep fighting. So I will play Dish King of Diamonds. Ooh. Oh, God. Some of these are just poetry.
Yeah.
Like,
What? That is
Taylor's just
good.
flexing.
Yeah.
When you stand on the shores of a beach and let the water wash over your toes, what memory do you try to conjure from the edge of your mind? Fuck. That's so
Good.
good. Oh my goodness, this game. This game is so lovely. Um hmm. Ooh, okay. I've got it. I think that one of our first dates was I even is from somewhere on the coast, like
Mm-hmm.
somewhere on a coastline. And Jackson, being from the colonies, had never seen the ocean before. And early on in their dating, they, I think, even surprised them with a trip to go to where she grew up, which is by the shoreline, and just remembers standing at the edge of the surf with Jackson, just standing there and just letting the water come in. And sometimes it would reach all the way up to where they were standing, and sometimes it wouldn't. And just standing there with like toes in the sand, just like the smell of the salt and the feel of the wind, and it being the first time that he had ever seen the ocean that she had grown up with and loved so much. So whenever she's near the water, she tries to remember those early days of them being together, in that particular trip where they went to the ocean. Do you want to keep fighting?
Yeah, I mean, I can't beat a king of diamonds. So
Oh, point for me. Now we're tied. All right. So
you get to
I get
attack me again.
yeah, I get to do a hit on
Strike
you.
a blow, hit on me.
Oh, I know. And the the emotional whiplash is intense because it's like, oh, I'm remembering all these wonderful things about my partner, and it's like, but now I gotta kill this Meg,
Yeah.
who is also my partner, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um. eh, hmm. So now we're on we're planet side again. So I think with the whip still out, I like whip it out towards you and get it around one of Ignis's wrists, and pull it hard enough with as much force as my little lithe mech has, and is able to pull hard enough that one of the hammers falls out of your grasp, and kind of, I don't want to say it's like the dramatic anime like slides across the room because this is a giant hammer, but it is at least out of reach now, and one of your hands is restrained in, my whip.
Very good. Very good. I approve. Okay, that means I get to go. Right?
Yee. If or unless you want to describe any damage that you took
Oh,
in that.
yeah, I think like there is like I think there is visible damage to that hand that was holding that hammer. I think as it's
Cool.
wrapping around, you can see like the metal buckle, uh, and I think that that hand can't close now. Um, yeah,
Good.
yeah, it's crushed just
Yes, you
enough
get
that whatever servos and mechanisms in there, that hand is no longer able to hold the hammer anyway.
brilliant. All right.
Hey. Oh, let's try this. Four of clubs,
Okie dokie.
which is back to the events of the war. Oh, well, that's a
Well,
question. What building once stood in the crater across the street from your home?
hmm. Well then.
I think it is um a restaurant that I used to uh run down to uh early in the morning, and get your favorite breakfast from, and bring it back to the house on occasions, and then like surprise you with like, hey, here's your breakfast. Don't get up. Stay in bed.
Oh.
You just take a relaxing day. for you. And it's that just like this little cafe, and we like I think we knew like the couple that owned it. Like their small little family little restaurant, and this little cafe, and I would go there and I wouldn't even have to like say anything. I would just walk in, and they'd have it, and I'd sneak it back up to the house,
Oh,
have it ready for
that's so
you.
that's so good.
Now it's a crater.
Now it's a crater. That's too bad. They made a damn good breakfast sandwich.
Boy, didn't they though.
All right.
You want to keep fighting?
I do. And I'm just gonna the lowest club I've got. So we're just going right up. So that's the Jack of Clubs. Ooh, what makes you the
Oh,
best pilot in the fleet? I think I think it's my parents. I think because the mechs operate like on a neural link,
mm,
and this is second generation mech pilots. I think a lot of the neural links in programming and framework and stuff was created based on the first generation of mech pilots. So a lot of that technology was developed like with the mech pilots and around like their um, brain pathways and stuff like that. And because both of my parents were first generation mech pilots, there's something about my brain that links up in a more like complete way than some other pilots, because some of this technology was developed based on my parents' brain chemistry. So I think my ability to link on a higher level to my mech uh, makes makes me a better pilot. That makes me more in tune with my mech,
mm,
and that coupled with like my drive to be a pilot like my parents were together just synergizes into being the best pilot in the fleet.
mm.
Would you like to keep fighting?
I would, and I have this card, King of Clubs. Uh, which is what would you give in order to retire and never have to fight again?
Oh, damn.
Uh, and I think for Jax would give up just the responsibility that he feels for like the colonies. He would give up the wealth that he's made as space mining Steve Jobs lawyer. I think he would give it all up to just take you uh away from everything. If there was a way he could there was a way he could create a planet of our own, it would just be just we'd give up all of it. Uh just to be able to have you and not this war or fight again. We'd give up everything to be on that mountainside. Uh
That's really and proposed for realsies.
and propose for realsies.
I That's really good.
You
Okay.
want to keep
Well,
fighting?
I do, and I have the Ace of Clubs.
Ah,
Thought you had me.
I thought I had you.
So the Ace is your faction did not start the disagreement that fuels the war, but they did cast the first stone. Ooh, what did they do to cause the fighting? Ooh. Um hmm. So this war, that is being fought between the colonies and Earth is, I imagine it's in some form like an independence thing. Like the colonies may have come from Earth, but they want to be their own entity,
Mhm.
because even in space around Earth, that's still so far away
Yeah.
from Earth that they feel like it shouldn't be under Earth's jurisdiction as to what they can and can't do. Um, so I think that they, the colonies, kind of collectively came to Earth and was like, basically like, this is our Declaration of Independence, like we want to be identified as this sovereign entity, like other planets in the system have already agreed to recognize us as a sovereign entity, um, and Earth said no. And when they fought back, when the colonies pushed back, I think that Earth attacked them. I think that Earth, I don't think it was like a large scale attack, but I think that it was like a warning shot, like destroyed something like on like the border,
Mhm.
like the borders of the colonies. Um, just as like we purposely didn't do something that would gravely endanger people up there because we still consider you ours, but we will destroy you if you try to do this again. So the colonies were the ones that are like, we want to be independent from you, but Earth was the ones that fired the first shot.
Good. That's good. Well, I guess that
Do you
means
want?
you get
Yeah.
another. Yeah, I mean, I do. I think you get another hit on me.
Yeah. So
You
now
literally
that
had an
we,
ace up your sleeve.
ooh, how many do I have? All right. So it dealt all the cards out. So once we are all out of cards, the
Oh,
game is over.
here we go.
Um, so we in it now. So as I so Paris by Way of Detroit is going to recoil the whip
Mhm.
and retract it back in and kind of like lower itself to the ground, almost in like the stance that runners take before taking off, like as if they're like a runner on the blocks, and just wait until Ignis starts pulling themselves like out of this crater and pulling themselves upright. And Paris by Way of Detroit is going to just slam full force into the midsection of Ignis with like full burst, just pushed right into the center, to try and knock them back down again and do damage to like to the midsection and like
Mhm.
upper leg area of the mech.
Yeah, I think you'd already slammed like Ignis down into the ground. You've latched onto one of the arms, and every time I try to get back up, you just shove me back down again. I think there is wear starting to show on Ignis in that uh, that midsection is becoming more and more damaged. Pieces like wires are exposed, things like that. You're getting some good licks in.
Ooh, well, I'd say whoops, but just a
um,
stinker.
ain't I a
Ain't I a
stinker?
stinker?
Uh,
Um,
yeah, cool. I get
cool.
to go.
So yeah, you go now.
Oh, I'm gonna put this little five of clubs down.
Okie dokie.
This is not gonna go well for me. uh, what small luxury do you sneak to enjoy when it all feels too much? Oh. Hmm. This is going to sound silly, but I think I
No, be
sneak
silly.
I sneak baths. I sneak extravagant baths because that is not a thing we do in the colonies
It's not
because
practical.
water is rationed. There's not a lot of water. There's not a lot of water to just sit around in it. And
Just
I
say
think Jax definitely puts like out candles because fire is very dangerous in space too. Like
it.
candles, low lighting, big bath. I think but he does but I think they feel sort of like, like people would be looking at them weird because of that. And I think it's uh when it's just too much, he has just the most lavish of baths.
That sounds amazing.
I know. Like now I want one. Like I don't have a
Now I'm like,
bathtub. Like I'm just
I'm like,
living my dream life through Jax here.
now I'm just again cursing that my bathtub is too small for me.
Hmm.
Or it's literally too small for any human adult. But I don't care about every human adult. I care about me, and it's too
I
small for
care
me.
about this human adult.
This human adult. All right. Well,
You want to keep
I
fighting?
I do, and I apologize in
Oh
advance
no,
because
this
the
is gonna
only
be.
card that I have that is higher, I have no clubs, and the only heart that I have is the Ace of Hearts.
Oh no.
So, oh my god, the Ace of Hearts, love at first sight. How did you meet your lover? How dare. Hmm. I'm going to build off of your first memory from character creation in the space terminal,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
I was hoping you would.
that it was in a spaceport, and even was coming back from a mech. Like, I think at this point she was probably in training, or like the equivalent of training, like I just started out. Or actually no, it'd be before that because her parents were still alive, so even's doing whatever she's doing, and she's probably in town to like visit her parents, and they're at the spaceport and waiting at the baggage claim, which, despite it being the future and very technologically advanced, they still haven't figured out how to make luggage claims more easy to use or user friendly. So um, just standing at the carousel,
There's probably little robots
and
that bring you your luggage, though.
yeah, oh well, of course they're little robots, little friends, little luggage friends.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson somehow ended up with, or vice versa, even ended up with Jackson's suitcase. And
Oh.
they were coming from wherever,
Mm-hmm.
but they had very similar suitcases. And as Even was walking away, rolling the suitcase behind her because it looked just like her suitcase, Jackson came running up behind her, rolling an identical suitcase that he checked the tag on and saw was not his. um, and just kind of like reached out and grabbed her shoulder, and just like in that moment like turned around to see him. And that is the moment from the memory with like the comet in the background
Mm-hmm.
of the busy spaceport. um and they, yeah, they met over mixed up luggage. And i I want to say that Even asked Jackson out and was like, "Oh, like let me make it up to you for trying to steal your suitcase, and
Mm-hmm.
we can go out for dinner sometime if while we're both in town." Um, and that's how they met.
Aw. I think I'm just gonna add a little fun little thing at the end
Yes,
of that.
please.
Just
Please.
because. And I think like after our dinner it was we hit it off so well that I invited you up for coffee because, you know,
Coffee.
yeah, because I had some. And
Oh
like
shit.
you I felt that you were like this like I had to share coffee with you. Uh because
Hmm.
that night was so well done.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
True
Okay,
sign
like
of true love.
yeah.
I will share
You make me want to
my
share coffee with you.
no pressure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
Well, I think you
it's
get
another
another hit on me.
I get another hit on you. Um Goodness. I think we're just gonna go like real plain and simple with this one, and it's like as Ignis like sustains this hit and knocks down to the ground, Paris by way of Detroit kind of like climbs on top of them and just kind of starts like doing lots of mech punches.
Oh yeah,
um
yeah.
like right in like the chest area, like as you often see in mech animes.
In
And
the mech
in
animes.
the mech animes, yes, the mech animes, they do many punches.
Yeah. Um and I think that as you're doing those punches, like you just see like Ignis is not holding up under the pressure that uh your uh that you're like giving.
Mm.
And yeah. Okay, I am in a conundrum
Mm-hmm.
because I have face cards.
Well, you know which one ends the game, so
Yeah.
hold off on that one so we can keep
Uh
fighting.
I'm going to play this
I
card right
mean,
here.
okay. Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah. Uh oh, that's the hearts, Dustin. Jack of Diamonds. You sold something important in order to move to the city. What was it? Oh.
Not your coffee,
No, it's not.
obviously.
No, I'm not selling that. I mean, what? Oh my gosh! But what's more important to me than my coffee? Um, um, gosh, I think I sold. Um, I think I sold. I think I sold like our family homestead, like our little plot. Like we get like a little like a little plot. Like there's a like huge like we're living in like a colony, but maybe there's like a little like terraforming sort of project going on, and like we'll never. It's like when you buy a tortoise. That's not your tortoise. That's your great grandchildren's tortoise. It's an heirloom pet. Like because if you're doing it right,
Mm.
and I'm not gonna like that lives a couple hundred years. Like, and I think this was sort of like a plot that my colonist family kind of has had, and like one day we'll have that. Like this will be our thing. This will be our
Mm.
showing us that we can do the impossible. And I think that to get to where I needed to go and do the things that I needed to do, that just wasn't going to be in the cards, and I think I had to kind of sell. I think I had to sell that, move to
Aw,
the city. That's okay. I met you,
sad.
and now
So
you're my little plot.
now I'm your
Yeah.
tortoise. um
Now you're my
and
future.
oh, stop. I cry. And I cannot beat that. So that's a point for you.
That is a point for
And you
me.
and you get a hit on me.
I do get a hit on you, and I think we have this scene as you're just like pummeling and pummeling and pummeling, and I think I do that thing in the pilots in a mech pilot
Mm.
where I just um throttle everything forward, and I think as you're coming down to land another rapid blows, um I uh I think I use the engines to kick up a bunch of the dust around me and like envelop us in a cloud of things. And I think I managed to roll out of the way just in time and bring the hammer in the hand that I can use, uh, like down on you, and I knock you down into the crater that you had made for me. Uh, yeah, and then I sort of like try to skirt away so I can get a better line of attack, so that I'm not pinned against anything anymore.
That's good. Um yeah, and I think Paris by Way of Detroit doesn't take much damage from that. I feel like the hit is more of a gaining the higher ground
Mhm.
type thing, but I think that there's still some jarring damage around the back. Like there's like around the mech's spine is like starting to like crumple inward
Mhm.
a bit, and in a mech that is built to be very agile and streamlined, like any disruption of like that shape and the smoothness of it negatively impacts like how quickly it's able to move and recover from things.
Mhm.
So the more seemingly not super bad damage it gets, the harder it is to continue to be very slick.
Mhm.
So okay, okay,
Okay.
okay. Let's see. I have nearly all of one suit.
I think I know what suit you have the most of.
Yes, I have a lot of spades. So I'm just trying to figure out which spade I want to play. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna play the eight of spades,
Okay.
which is what underhanded trick does your opponent pull? And I envision this as so Paris by Way of Detroit is in this crater and starts to pull itself out and sees Ignis standing somewhat close by, like holding the one remaining hammer and looking very ragged, but like ragged for a mech. Like if a mech could like be panting and like breathing very
Yeah.
heavily and stuff like worn down looking, and Ignis lets go of the hammer and the hammer falls to the ground, and it looks as if like they are not able to keep fighting, and Paris by Way of Detroit like pulls themselves up and is ready to keep fighting and rushes at Ignis again in this right before, like moments before they would make contact. Ignis picks up the hammer again and just smacks Paris by way of Detroit right in the chest and knocks them like in exaggerated anime form, like far across the ground, almost just like a pop fly type of thing, um,
Oh, I
and
love
just
it.
sends them flying.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's see. I'm going to play this card.
Ah. Ooh.
Queen of Hearts. When your lover smiles, what emotion do you feel? Um,
Oh my heart.
and I think that every time you smile, Jax goes through a million flashbacks of all the times you smile. And it's the same feeling that Jax gets when he looks into space. That feeling of infinite possibilities. That that power of knowing that there's just things out there and there's adventure and uh sure it's could be hard and it's dangerous, but god damn if it isn't worth it. And I think every time you smile, Jax is just like, god damn if every day with you isn't worth it.
First of all, how dare you? Second of all, fuck, that's so good. Oh god. My emotions. It's gonna be really hard to kill you later.
Yes. Yes, it's gonna be so hard.
Except I don't think that's gonna happen. I cannot continue on. So that clash goes to you, and we are coming down to a photo finish.
Yeah. So I
Um,
think um I it's one of those scenes where as you're flying across the planet, um I'm chasing you as you're flying, and then it's just one of those like uh shoulder checks into like a cliffside sort of kind of thing, where I do that dirty trick that I did, and then I just follow it up with just the like, oh, you think you had me? Well, now the tables have turned, and I like impact crater you, but in like a vertical cliff this time. Uh, and there's that smoke and the lights from our mech's eyes, or mine is like intensely shining in the fury of you know getting back.
that's good. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this might be our last clash.
It might be.
I think this might be our last clash.
Might be.
So I was just looking over the rules to see exactly what endgame means. But I will play, let's see, looking at my cards, looking at my options. um, all right. Considering you said that you have face cards left and I know what's left, I'm looking at the prompts. I'm like, I want to play
Yeah,
what's
go
most
for it.
narratively
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna play the Queen of Spades.
Oh.
And the Queen of Spades is, when do you realize your opponent is likely going to win this fight?
Oh.
And even is the best pilot in the fleet. She doesn't ever think that she's going to lose a fight. But I think that as her mech flies through the air and is driven vertically into a cliff. Um, there's like the flashing lights like in the HUD, and there's like the warnings, like the system failures, and all of these things. And Paris by Way of Detroit is built that it's durable to a point, but then it's also it's designed to be good in a fight, but it's also designed to like be good at running away
Mhm.
when you know that it's time for you to run away. um, and there's a moment when it's flashing all of those warning signs that she's trained her whole time as a mech pilot to know, like, when this is happening, like, you need to run. But she knows that the position she's in now, that's not an option.
Mhm.
That there's nowhere to run to, there's nowhere that she can go that Ignis is not going to follow.
Mhm.
So she is just frantically trying to manually adjust systems and like fix what she can within